Welcome to the Draft Professor. Joined today by Christian and EJ. And we are going to be going through some running back scheme fits, revisit a little bit of the combine today. It is Thursday night. EJ, it's great to see you. Anything on your mind after seeing the combine the last couple of days?
Basically, I don't know. I'm looking at pretty much got the combine on in the background. I got the rebroadcast going on. I'm taking notes. I'm writing down names that I didn't know before, and I'm just looking at who's having a good combine and who's not, who's winners and losers, and pretty much on the job right now.
So, what new names have you jotted down?
So I wrote down. Let me get my notes up. Caleb Proctor.
Okay.
You probably got him already. Probably got Mason Rager already from Wisconsin. Trey Moore from Texas, and Caleb Elarms Orr from TCU. Some of those names I think are already in the draft professor simulator. But those are some names that stood out to me there, and I'm going to pull up the film on them.
We just did a linebacker show at 7. Caleb Elarms Orr was linebacker 9 for both podcasters.
Nice. So I gotta get out
of
them there.
Christian, do you have any of those guys on your board?
Yeah, I do. I've definitely go back and Elarms Orr I've got him probably right around 9 to 12. Proctor, Proctor was Shrine Bowl. I thought he was a standout there, so I watched him a little bit after Shrine. But yeah, I thought he had a great day. And then the Ohio State linebackers are just they're cyborgs. They're unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay, so we will probably come back and circle back to the combine. But EJ, do you want to explain to everybody what running back scheme fits, which is the subject and the theme of today's podcast, is?
Yeah, so basically, every running back has a type of running scheme that they work best in, that they have the most experience in, or that best suits their skills. There are mainly like two different run schemes in the NFL and in college, and you have a zone scheme and you have gap schemes. Zone schemes is just like zone coverage on defense. Your offensive lineman is creating an area of the field that they're blocking, and you are to, as a running back, your jobs are to run into that zone or run to the area that zone is blocking for. Gap schemes are a little bit different. You are attacking a specific gap, like A gap, B gap, C gap. All the run schemes and gap schemes are designed to attack a specific gap, to where you're honestly, as a running back, somebody's aiming you. You're like a bullet. Somebody's aiming you, and you're shooting to where they're pointing to you at. Now, there's sometimes gap blocking is not always 100% perfect. So it is up to the running back to make accommodations for somebody missing a block or somebody getting beat on a block. So that's where the running back creativity comes in. But every scheme has a specific way that the run should go. And for running backs, some running backs have the different type of skill sets that fit maybe a gap scheme better, or some running backs have the skill set that fit a zone scheme better. So this is what we're going to do. This is the exercise for the day. We're going to just look at these running backs and see what their skills and match their skills to the specific scheme.
So, Christian, how many running backs on your board do you think could play in any scheme, whether it's gap, inside zone, outside zone, where it doesn't matter? Like, if the coaching staff switches, that running back is still going to be an asset to that, whatever the new scheme is for the new coaches.
Jeremiah Love, that's the list. I think Emmett Johnson has the potential to get there. I don't think he's there yet, but you could drop Jeremiah Love into 32 offenses and he will be a dynamic playmaker right away.
Okay. EJ, is your list bigger than Jeremiah Love that could play in any scheme?
Yeah. and this is like to a different degree of usage. So say like Jeremiah Love, he's going to be your lead backstop. I'd also have a guy like Katron Allen on that list too. I don't expect him to be a lead back. I expect him to be a more complementary player, but he can run in any scheme because basically when you look at his splits, his run and gap scheme splits at Penn State, he ran almost 50-50 gap scheme and run scheme. So he has experience in both. He has the vision for and the skill set for both, but just not at the higher level as Jeremiah Love. Like, because the guys I got on there, and mind you, this is just a projection. Some of these guys don't have a whole lot of experience in these schemes, but I got Jeremiah Love, I got Jadarian Price, I got Mike Washington, kid from Arkansas, and I got Damon Claiborne and Emmett Johnson. Those guys, I believe, have the skill set to do both because you got to have pretty much the physical ability and also the vision and the mental processing to be able to do both. So I believe those guys have the skill set to do both. Not all of them are going to be like your number one running back in your running back room, but they can still run both schemes as your number two running back or your number three running back.
Got it. And then EJ, do you want to talk about a specific scheme and then the running backs that fit it? But I just wanted to start at the top and say there's usually a reason that certain running backs are at the top, and that's because they can play in any scheme. So I think we got Jeremiah Love out of the way. Owen and Newt actually did a really similar podcast to this when they covered running backs last week. I knew about the Jeremiah Love, but where do you want to go with your schemes and the running backs you want to talk about next?
I'll start with a guy that's a little bit further down the list. Adam Campbell from Clemson. He is
Adam Randall.
Adam Randall. Yeah, I said Campbell. Randall. Adam Randall. He is a converted wide receiver. So he's not very experienced playing the running back position. So when I watched him, he's a bigger guy. He's a bigger running back. He has some power, has some speed. He's more athlete than running back right now, which is understandable because, he's changing positions. He's still learning a new position. But when I look at him, I look at his skill set and I say he doesn't have the vision yet for running. He doesn't know how to cut off leverage. He doesn't see the blocks coming before see the blocks being set up. So I would put him in a gap scheme. And here's why. In a gap scheme, for one, you're not reading the entire offensive line. You're reading basically one or two blockers. Gap schemes are designed to attack a specific gap. So say like on counter play. Say like a counter is when your guard and your tackle are pulling around to the other side of the line of scrimmage, and your running back is following behind them. Basically, those are your two lead blockers, and your running back is following behind them. That play itself is designed to hit the C gap. The C gap is the gap between the tackle and the tight end, if there is one. So that's where the play is designed to go. For somebody that doesn't have experience with vision, that's like GPS. You go here. So he knows where exactly to start at, and then from there he can make his moves or make his cuts or get whatever yardage he can. So, and that's basically the main concept of most gap schemes. They're aimed at a specific point. With zone schemes, you have pretty much you have your offensive linemen are a wall, and you have to find the holes in that wall. That's the responsibility of the running back. That's where your vision is. That's where running back vision comes into play. So, but like a guy that's new to the position, like Adam Randall, I say I'll start him off in a gap scheme. Pretty much, it allows him to use his physical abilities that he has because he is big, he is fast, so it gives him a head of steam. So he's running into the line of scrimmage with momentum, and then you can go from there. So guys like him, guys like Nicholas Singleton, guys that struggle with their vision, because Nicholas Singleton is another one. Let him be aimed more than picking where he wants to go. Let him be somebody that is aimed. You go here, then once he knows where he's going, his athletic ability takes over, and then he'll look like a much better player. The only issue with that is they have to learn patience to wait for their blocks. And sometimes, your offensive linemen are big and some of them are slow. So you have to wait for them to go and get to it and really set up their blocks. So it does require a little bit of patience. But for those running backs that struggle with their vision, and some running backs that need a runway, so to speak, just to get ahead of steam going forward, I suggest they do gap schemes.
So, Christian, who are some of your favorite gap scheme running backs in this class?
Yeah, I like my guy, Mike Washington. People are probably getting sick of me talking about Mike Washington, but I think he's one of my favorite backs in this draft. Just built like a tank, got good explosiveness once he gets to the second level, and when he attacks a hole, you don't want to be on the receiving end. He always falls forward, has the goal line, has the strength of the goal line to take the pile forward and get some cheap yards after contact. One more I really like is Kaelon Black from Indiana. He's still got trail on the tires left. Let me pull up his stat here, but he followed Kurt Signetti from James Madison. I'm pulling up his numbers right now. I'm getting up. 443 touches or carries in his college career. So he's got some reasonable tread on the tires. Really good power runner in between the tackles, and a really good fit in a gap scheme with his power and contact balance.
Okay, and any other gap running backs that you want to drop, Christian?
I would. Yeah. I mean, Katron Allen to me is better fit in a gap scheme than a zone scheme, just with his strength and physicality. I'm not sure he's got the breakaway speed and explosiveness on the perimeter to be a dynamic zone runner. But I think in a gap scheme, he's got the ability to get some good yards in between the tackles and be a reliable lead back in early downs.
Okay, and I guess one other clarification, I think we said this a little bit at the top of the podcast, but no NFL team is purely gap or purely zone. They tend to run a mix of both to kind of keep the defense off guard. It's really maybe a preference. Like we know that Arthur Smith is probably going to be running more zone, right? And like a Kyle Shanahan runs more zone, but that doesn't mean that they don't do the gap. Correct, EJ?
Yeah. A lot of these runs are dictated by what your 5 best offensive linemen are. So say like if you got your 5 best offensive linemen are these big, strong people movers, then you're going to run more gap scheme because that's what they're better at. If you got maybe a smaller, more athletic line, then maybe you're going to run some zone, get these guys out in space. Because a lot of these schemes that coaches use, they all got the same plays in their playbook. They just call it something different. It's because everybody runs counter, everybody runs duo, everybody runs outside zone and all of that. So it's all the same things. Coaches are just leaning towards one thing over another because that's what best fits the talent that they have. So that's what the good coaches do. They build a scheme around the talent that they have. But that's the reason why you see teams that lean either or in different directions.
Okay. And do we want to talk about who your favorite zone runners are, Christian, in this draft class?
Yeah, sure. There's a couple off the top of on top of my board here. Jadarian Price and Damont Claiborne are two that I've got pinpointed for a zone. Price is so patient. He trusts and playing behind a really good O-line like Notre Dame generally has. You really see that on display. Got good patience. I think he's a little bit of I think he runs with one pace, one tempo. I don't see the tempo that gap scheme that is required of in a gap scheme to really diagnose blocks and jump cut into holes to the second level. But as a zone, he can let those blocks develop in front of him and attack with good burst and acceleration. And Claiborne, Wake Forest ran a lot of RPOs, and that suits right into Claiborne's kind of versatile skill set as a pass catcher and a runner.
Okay. EJ, any more zone runners that you want to bring everybody's attention to?
Yeah, I'm piggybacking right off of Christian because Damon Claiborne was like the first name I saw. Like I like this guy. I think he's going to have success at the next level. I don't think he's going to be a starter or anything like that, but I think he's going to be a real player. Damon Claiborne. When I look at these zone runners, first thing I'm looking at their footwork, because with say like for outside zone, for example, that play is, outside zone is when all your offensive linemen say are going to the right and they're blocking to the right. They're creating a wall that's going to the right. The aiming point for the running back is to run outside and hit the corner and go around there. Now, if that's not there, the running back's reads. The running back has reads, just like the quarterback has reads. For his first read is to outside. If that's not there, he's supposed to work his way in gap by gap. And then ultimately, if none of those are there, hit the cutback on the opposite side of the field. So when you think about it like that, you need a running back, one, that can change direction easily. You need a running back, two, that has the vision to diagnose where his holes are going to be. And three, you need somebody with that first step explosiveness to actually go from running sideways towards the sideline to change the direction and getting straight up field and getting to that hole in time. So I'm looking at guys with quickness. I'm looking at guys with explosiveness, and I'm looking at guys with good footwork. When I say good footwork, I mean like no wasted motion. You're not tripping over yourself. Every move you make has an intention to it. So no wasted motion. So Damon Claiborne, I really like him in these zone schemes. I think he could eat a zone scheme up. He'll break some long ones for you. Another one I got is Emmett Johnson. He's another guy, good footwork, good change of direction, good first step explosiveness. You can see he's run. Let's see. I think I got up his stats. He's run 100 and wow. He's run 135 of his runs were in zone last season. Only 4 in gap. So this is a guy, he's experienced in zone rushing. So and understandably so, because he's pretty good at it. The other guy I got as a zone runner is Noah Whittington. Now, I was late to know. I don't know if we did him when we did the running back shows, but he's a kid out of Oregon. He spent his first 2 years at Western Kentucky. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Noah Whittington from Oregon spent his first 2 years at Kentucky, 5'8", 203 pounds. He's a smaller guy, but he's another guy. Good change of direction. He's short, so he has that low center of gravity, so it allows him to change direction, and it also helps with his contact balance. But he's a guy, he can movement is not his issue. He may not be I actually want to see what he runs at the combine, because I don't think he's going to have like a 4.3 40 or anything like that. But he has good speed to break the chunk plays, good straight line speed. But he has good change of direction. He's one of those guys that can make a guy miss. When you talk about running backs, you say, can he make somebody miss in the phone booth? All that means is, can you make him miss in tight quarters? And he's one of those guys that can make somebody miss in tight quarters. So he's another guy I had listed as a zone runner.
Okay. Any other running back scheme fits? Because you guys haven't talked about Roman Hemby yet. So, Christian, if you had to pick a scheme for Roman Hemby, what would it be?
Probably a zone, because he's kind of the, think of the old D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, Carolina Panthers Thunder and Lightning duo. Kalen Black's kind of the Thunder, and Roman Hemby's the Lightning. He's the guy who's going to bring the speed, the big playmaking, who's going to get to the perimeter and break open a big one. So I like him better in a zone.
Okay. And then trying to think of some other running backs that we haven't spoke about. So Robert Henry from UTSA. Have either of you watched Robert Henry?
Yeah, I think we did do Robert Henry on one of these running back shows. Yeah, he's a guy. I think he has some decent change of direction. He has some decent long speed. He's a guy I would put in would put in zone. Allow him to read the line through, make his cuts, and I don't think he's going to be like a starter or anything like that. But I would play him in zone. And real quick on Roman Hemby, Christian was spot on, because last season at Indiana, 88 rushes in zone, only 34 in gap. So that's what he's comfortable with.
Okay. And silly me, I didn't have my running back board pulled up, so I'm going to go check a couple others. EJ, is there any other running back that you want to give a shout out to? do you think could, like, we haven't talked about Jonah Coleman. I knew that was a name at the top I was missing. So Jonah Coleman, what do you think his best scheme is?
Yeah, it's like I look at Jonah Coleman and he's like this big bowling ball type of guy. He has good quickness and everything, but I think I'd rather see him with a head of steam, building up a head of steam, and then just running through guys. Because one of his biggest traits is like his contact balance, his yards after contact. He's a guy that's hard to bring down, and he has some speed and quickness to go along with it. So I'd rather put him in like a gap scheme because I want him not to say that he doesn't have the vision for his own, but I like him following a lead blocker. I like him getting ahead of steam. I like him running guys over. I think that's where his best traits are. So I would play him in a gap scheme.
Yeah, I love Coleman in a gap scheme. He's always falling forward, and he's not the bigger running back by prototypical standards, but he's always moving the pile forward.
Yep.
So what do you think of Adam Randall going to Klint Kubiak in Vegas?
Well, Klint Kubiak, he's from that Shanahan tree, and that Shanahan McVay type of tree. They start off with outside zone. Outside zone is one of their main staples of their offense. So like him in a zone scheme, it could work because I mean it could work in time because like if he can identify where his blockers are and he can just put his foot in the ground and go, he'll be fine. But I would rather start him off in like a gap type of scheme, but until he gets his actual vision as a running back, his actual movement style as a running back up to par. So that may take like a year or two, but he can do it. But my only question is how long it'll take for him to be ready to do it.
Yeah. And Michael, the comment I'll make is we did cover Adam Randall a little bit earlier in the podcast. So EJ, I'm going to summarize for you, but correct me if I'm misquoting you. But Adam Randall would be better for a power scheme because he's running, like you said, to a GPS. He's running to a specific location. And that's easier for a running back, whereas zone requires vision. And Adam Randall is an inexperienced running back because he's a converted wide receiver. So the zone concepts are harder for a player like Adam Randall. Is that what I heard you say earlier?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as
go ahead.
As a newer player to the position, he was a former. I mean, he came to Clemson as a receiver, started playing running back. I think last year or the year one, but he's only played running back full time for a couple of years. So getting in a gap scheme and playing more downhill and just let him go is going to eat and it's going to ease him in. He'll pick up the vision and the technicalities over time.
Okay. Have either of you watched Seth McGowan from Kentucky?
Yes, I actually just wrote up his scouting report. Yeah. So yeah, he's I like him. Zone. He's a guy. He has good movement ability. He has good change of direction. I wouldn't say he's a powerful runner, but he's like a determined runner. So like he can get yards after contact, but he's not going to really run anybody over. Has decent speed and explosiveness. He's quicker than he is fast, which is good for a running back because he can navigate short areas. He can get through holes, but I like the vision that he has. So like he's a guy that if you want to run inside zone, you want to run outside zone, he can pick apart. He can identify leverage on with their offensive line. When I say identify leverage, that means he's cutting off the back of his offensive lineman. If he sees the back of his offensive lineman, he knows exactly where his guy is blocked at. So if he sees two offensive linemen and their back is to him, he knows he's got the block. So he can hit that hole right there. So and he does that pretty well. So yeah, I would like him in the zone.
Okay, Christian, any other running backs that you want to mention?
I like Le'Veon Moss. I mean, he got dinged up last year, but a little small. But I like him. I like him in a zone scheme. And he's got the quickness to get outside and the speed to hit the second level and bust open a big one.
Okay, and Moss has been gaining a little bit of popularity on Draft Professor podcasts with some of the other podcasters because didn't hear much about Moss all the way through the season. And like EJ, I think when you were covering running backs, he was a guy. Like not saying that as a negative, but it's not the opposite of a negative. It's not like he was moving to the top of the board. Have you, any thoughts on Moss, EJ? Do we have a lag in the audio?
You lose him.
Yep. EJ's fate. Yeah, okay, so EJ just moved. We may have a slow internet connection. So, okay. Okay, this is a great question. So, Christian, thoughts on this question? Who makes more yards through effort than speed?
Oh, that is a great question. Effort than speed. My vote would, I mean, it'd probably be Jonah Coleman, just because of how physical and tough he is. He's a compact runner, so he's got great balance. He consistently makes defenders miss, but just drags them forward and finds a way to stay on his feet and keep his legs churning and get yards after contact.
EJ, any other thoughts on a running back that makes a lot of yards through effort, absent of speed?
Yeah, I would say CJ Donaldson. He's more of the power back he's gonna impose his will on guys. Max Breederson, he's a fullback more so than a running back, but he's that guy that's just gonna run through people. He's all effort. He's like a Cam Scatterboot type of guy. So those are guys I see are effort guys.
Yeah, and I always like to say, like, I remembered when we were talking about Scatterboot last year, like that skill set wasn't going to age well. Like I was saying, that's a one contract running back, and take him. Like everybody's saying, well, why did he go to day 3? Because he's a one contract running back. You like him when you have him,
exactly,
but probably not going to have a long career. Okay,
yeah, exactly. Like he's a car crash waiting to happen.
So pass blocking. So we had this discussion last week. If I had to pick a 3-down back in this class, I'm picking Roman Hemby. He may not be the best pass blocker, but there were years, I think when he was at Maryland, he was getting 40 to 50 catches a year. So just in general, Hemby, you don't have to take him off the field because I'm not saying he's a plus blocker, but he's a willing and effective blocker. He can catch. So I like Hemby, but I am curious, EJ, who you like in this class to be a pass blocker.
Yeah, I like Hemby. I like Mike Washington in pass blocking, because a lot of with pass blocking is sometimes I don't expect my running back to beat a linebacker that's coming with a head full of steam. But I do expect him to, one, block the right person, and then just give me enough effort to where my quarterback can get the pass off. So Mike Washington, he does that. One thing, he has the size and the play strength in order to be an effective blocker. And 2, he actually knows who to block. When I say knows who to block, the running back has to scan the entire front and see who's coming on the blitz. And he has to identify the blitzer just like the quarterback does. So if a guy can scan and figure out who to block, and then one thing, when he's blocking technique wise, I want to see my running backs step into the block. You take a step forward and walk into the block. Don't just stand there and wait for them to run into you. That gives your quarterback a little bit more movement space in the pocket. So guys that do that, I think Mike Washington, Roman Hemby, those are guys that you can trust in pass protection.
Christian, you want to mention any of your favorite pass blocking running?
Yeah, Washington was my guy. When he gets his hands latched or makes contact with blockers, it's over. He's got the size and strength to stonewall linebackers. But I think Jay Knott's got the potential to develop into that over time. He's got good hands as a pass catcher, but I thought he had a good week at the Senior Bowl with pass blocking.
Yeah, and Michael, my comment is, how many running backs in this class is somebody going to say we're happy that the team came away with a running back? Like, I remember going through the list with EJ when Christian, it was before you were on the podcast, but EJ was breaking down the running back class. And I think it was after about running back 8 or 9, where it's like, it was somewhere right around there.
Yeah.
And
it drops off.
Yeah.
And there was another, again, we got some draft professors doing some really good work. So here's a stat. 2015 was the last draft where more tight ends were drafted than running backs. So, like, Christian, as you look at your board, do you where's your 15th tight end versus your 15th running back?
There's a good chance that changes this year, because once you get to past my top 100, I've got 5 times my top 100. But you could argue another 10 tight ends could be in that early day 3 range.
Yes, that was where I was going. Is that to me this feels like round 4. I think there's going to be a huge run on what I'm going to call a project tight end, like somebody that's going to come onto your roster as a tight end 2 or tight end 3. They may never become a tight end 1, but the tight end 2 class is better than the running back class. EJ, any additional
much deeper
on that? Yeah,
it's much deeper class too. Like the tight ends in this class, they are. It's a lot of guys. It's a lot of number 2 tight ends. Some guys that have the upside to develop into number 1 tight ends, but it's a lot of 12 personnel tight ends in this class, which is good because you got a lot of good blockers and you got a lot of blockers with upside as receivers. So you look at like the 4th and 5th round, you got guys like Kaczmarek from Ohio State, like a guy like Marlon Klein from Michigan. These guys that are good blockers, but leave something to be desired as receivers, but they still have the upside to do it. So, it's the quality in round 5. You're going to find a better tight end than you will a running back in like round 5 and 6.
And I think one of the other things that I'm going to say diminishes tight end to fans of the draft is this isn't a fantasy football podcast, right? This is an NFL draft. Mm-hmm. We're trying to build the best 53-player roster. And every team is going to have at least 3 tight ends on their 53. And they may only catch 20 passes during the year, right? Like, they're not a fantasy football tight end, but they're very valuable to what that team does, right? So, like, one of my favorite players on Buffalo is Jackson Hawes, who is Buffalo's tight end 3, who was a draft pick last year. But one of the reasons that James Cook had the year that he did is Jackson Hawes.
His blocking.
Hawes probably played 40 to 50 I don't know the specific snap percentage, but between the injuries to the other tight ends and just the number of 2 and 3 tight end sets that Buffalo ran, like, he made a huge difference in the running game. So in this draft, I think you're going to see a lot of these tight ends have 10-year careers, and they may never get more than 32 catches.
And what we're starting to see as the fullback starts to come back and be a more prevalent part of NFL offenses, teams are using that 3rd tight end or even 4th tight end in some cases as the fullback, kind of double dipping.
Right. Exactly. So even though this is a running back show, somehow we got onto the tight end. That's just sometimes how it goes. So EJ, you want to pivot, talk about the combine a little bit. Today was Sonny Styles Day, right?
Oh my God. He a 43-inch vertical. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, basketball players don't have that. And this guy, he's the winner of the day. Sonny Styles, he really lit it up. But like I said in the beginning of the show, the guys that actually stood out to me a little bit more. And one thing, the guy I mentioned on our last show, the edge rusher from Florida, George Gums, he had himself a 41-inch vertical. He also had his broad jump was, let me see if I can find it. I think it was about 10-foot broad jump. So all that does is suggest lower body explosiveness. But like I said in the last show, this guy, he's a pure athlete. He just got no clue how to rush the passer yet. But like in a setting like this, it's not surprising that he's putting up solid numbers too. But yeah, like one thing I look at with these offensive linemen is not defensive linemen, and linebackers is the 10-yard split. And of course, top of the 10-yard split, of course, is Sonny Styles with a 1.56 10-yard split. So this guy is just a freak athlete all the way around. Another one had a good 10-yard split is Kyle Lewis. I think he's having a good day. He's showing his athleticism. He's showing that his athleticism at the combine matches what we saw on tape of him moving in space. So he's really backing everything up. And another guy, Caleb Elarms-Orr, another with a 1.59 10-yard split. That 10-yard split is really important with these front seven players because they're only traveling 10 yards at a time. And so if they can show explosiveness in that short area, you can see how fast they can get to the football and how fast they can get to the quarterback. So that's one important combine stat. But
Christian,
the other guy that I was talking.
I was gonna.
Oh no, go ahead. I was done.
Go ahead, finish, EJ. Go ahead and finish.
Oh no, I was just going to say the last guy is Mason Rager. He's another guy that he showed good explosiveness at the size that he's at. Good explosiveness, good quickness. And I just watched him do the hoop drill, and he showed some ankle bend as well. So that's good to see.
So, Christian, do you have any combine winners?
Yeah, I was going to echo EJ's point on Kyle Lewis. If it weren't for Sonny Styles, I think Kyle Lewis would be known as the winner. 4.53 40-yard dash, 1.58 10-yard split, 39.5-inch vertical, 10.9 on the broad jump, and then a 6.97 in the three cone, and a 4.26 in the short shuttle. Just, unbelievable. You see the fluidity and the agility that shows up on tape. It just validates what we're seeing with Kyle Lewis. The other one's Jacob Rodriguez. I thought he had a phenomenal day. 4.57 40-yard dash, 1.6 10-yard split, 38.5-inch vertical jump, 10.1 on the broad, 6.93 cone, and a 4.19 short shuttle. Just these linebackers are they're ridiculous. Just absolute freaks of nature. And just one more thing on Sonny Styles. Maybe the best part of the day was when he was interviewed after his vertical jump. He was disappointed with a 43.5-inch vertical. Like, I could get 45. I couldn't imagine just jumping 43.5 inches, and my takeaway being, I could get 45. It just shows this, linebackers in 2026, different breeds. They really are.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's my favorite stat of the day. So David Bailey, I think, tested like we expected, but I want to go with two numbers. We had a 4.5 40-yard dash with a 1.62 second 10-yard split. And I apologize if that noise came through. NFL Network had a commercial on the page as I was reading that. Jayshon Barham had a 1.61 10-yard split. So Barham was faster than Bailey by a decent fraction, even though Bailey's long speed is significantly faster. Right. And going to EJ's point, short area quickness is more important. So is that my computer that's making that noise?
Oh no, that's mine. That's just a commercial came up on.
No, I went to the NFL Network site and they're playing videos while I'm looking, and I just want your data.
Yeah, exactly. I like just give me the numbers. I don't want to. Don't
Yep.
sell me anything.
Yep. But so I thought Jayshon Barham. I'm going to say it was a quiet day, and he had a quiet good day because there were other players that may have tested better, but Barham showing that short area quickness is why some draft professors are saying Jayshon Barham round 2. Right? You're getting a guy that can play edge or he could play linebacker. You're going to be able to move him around your defense. He's very scheme generic. Whether you run an odd front and even front, you're going to be able to find a place to put Barham on the field. And he's played at the University of Michigan at a very high level. So just want to give Jayshon Barham a shout out. Any other players, Christian, that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I think Grayson Halton's ran his way into day 2 today. 10-yard split on 36.5 vertical jump, 9.6 on the broad. That shows up on tape so quick, so disruptive with his hands. Even though he's not the biggest guy, he's so quick off the ball and quickly gets penetration.
Yeah. EJ, anybody else you want to mention?
Yeah, Caleb Proctor. He's a guy that I'm going to go back to the film on. He's 6'2", 291 pounds, 33-inch arms. This is a guy, he ran a sub 4.8 40, so 4.79 40. And his split, we talked about Jayshon Barham's split was 1.61. His 1.68 is at almost 50 pounds heavier. Broad jump 9.5, 20-yard shuttle 4.7. But this, like, you watched him move in the drills and you watched him do the hoop drill, and you can see the bend that he has. Like, this guy is a pure athlete. Now I want to go back and see what his production looks like and how he was used in a defensive scheme, and see if the tape matches the combine. But he's a guy that instantly jumped off the field. I'm like, who is that? And so he's a guy that I'm going to circle back to the film on.
Okay, we're going to give another one, and it's interesting seeing, with how Draft Professor structures the podcast from October to December. We do a lot of scouting reports on players, and we're kind of comparing notes across Draft Professors. So we had 3 podcasts doing defensive line. And that was 7 podcasters covering all those defensive linemen. 5 of those Draft Professors were completely out on DeMonte Capehart. Like, completely out, undraftable. Why are we podcasting on him?
Wow.
Now, Jack Rentnall and Owen take a bow. Because they were saying there is something to Capehart. They weren't going to quit him. They said he's still a day 3 player, but DeMonte Capehart at 325 pounds ran a sub 4. I believe it was sub 4.9. It may have been sub 4.8 40.
Yep.
I don't remember. Do you guys have the time for Capehart immediately in front of you? It was either like 4.79 or 4.81, I thought.
Let's see.
4.85 on the 40 and 1.71 in the 10. So yeah, that 1.71 the 10 that's a really good time.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a big man moving quickly.
Yeah.
For both the 10-yard and the 40, because even that 40 time is impressive.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he measured in at 6'5", 313.
Yep.
33 and 7/8 arm too.
Have either of you graded Capehart yet?
Yeah, I looked at him. I looked at him when we did the scheme fitting for Fangio defense. I looked at him as like a 5 technique or a 4-eye. That's how he was used. But he's an athlete, and honestly, you got to go back to his 2024 tape to really get a better view of what he is, because something happened with that Clemson team in 2025. Nobody played up to their potential. So I'm blaming that on the coaching staff or whatever was going on there, because it's when everybody is having a bad year, that means it's not the player, it's something else. But yeah, DeMonte Capehart, he's a player. He's a player. He's a guy. I can see him going on day 3. I can see him going actually earlier on day 3, but he's that guy. He has that type of position versatility where he can be. You want to kick him out to be a 5 tech. You want to put him in 3 tech and a 4 down alignment. He can do that. But yeah, he's the talent is there. The talent is absolutely there. So it just takes the right scheme and the right coaches to get it out of him.
Yep. Christian, how about you? Where are you on Capehart right now?
I've got day 3. He's got he's clearly got the talent. Just has to go to the right destination where someone's going to be able to get that talent out of him on a more consistent, frequent basis. But I think, if you got almost 34-inch arms and over 10-inch hands, there's a place for you in the league somewhere.
Yep. So, any other players from the combine that either of you want to shout
out? Defensive tackle from Texas A&M, Onyedem. I think he. I looked at him in position drills. I thought he showed some good explosiveness and some good quickness, because I watched him doing the bag drill where he jumping over the 4 bags, and you can really see the balance, you can see the foot quickness, and you can see the agility of guys during that drill. And I thought he was one of the guys that stood out. And of course, all the top guys like Lee Hunter and all that, they are as advertised. I don't speak on them as much because I expect them to do well, and they did well. So it's like nothing to see here. But Lee Hunter actually did have himself a good day. And on top of that, just Zane Durant. Zane Durant had a good combine. He showed exactly what he is. He showed his explosiveness. He showed his quickness. He showed his foot quickness and his balance. And he at the size that he's at. So I think he made himself some money. He's one of the better athletes at the defensive tackle position. So I look at him like somebody's going to grab him, be a 4-3 defensive or 4-3 defensive tackle, and they're going to let him just be an athlete and go shoot up the field and rush the passer. I think he'll be good at that.
Well, Christian, anybody else you want to shout out?
I'll take the other A&M lineman, Albert Regis. He's been kind of hovering right around late day 2 to early day 3 for me, but 1.72 10-yard split. I know he's a good run defender, but he's quick. He's got there. I see some pass rushing potential there.
Okay. And we can keep going if you guys got more players.
Oh well, well, yeah. Did we talk about Grayson Halton and how he his day? He's another guy. Like when you watch him on film, it's like you think he needs to get a little bit stronger as a player, but the quickness is there. The quickness, the explosiveness is it's all there for him. He's another guy, sub 4'9", 40, 1.7 10-yard split, 36-inch vertical, a 9.6 on the broad jump. That's pretty much, you see the lower body explosiveness, and it matches the tape with him. So he's a guy that he's going to be a pure speed rusher. He's going to use his hands. Now, if he actually adds a little bit more play strength to himself, now we're talking about, Pro Bowl caliber player. But like as he is right now, he's more of a speed rusher, more of a quickness rotational type of rusher. But he's having a good combine because he's showing exactly what his strengths are.
Yeah, and in general, I think Oklahoma, like their defense, they're putting, I think right now they probably have, like, if I'm counting, like 6 guys in the draft. They got 2 defensive linemen between Halton and R. Mason Thomas. Yep. They have 2 linebackers, Owen Heineke and Kendall Daniels. Mm-hmm. Robert Spears Jennings at safety. And I think I just listed 5. And then next year, their defensive line in the draft is going to be stacked.
Yeah.
So, and they put a couple of linebackers, because Danny Stutzman was from Oklahoma last year, right? They just keep putting linebackers into the draft, everybody. They keep putting
they got another linebacker that's probably going to be coming out next year. He was big in that Alabama game. I forget what his name is, but he looks super athletic. He had like 2 sacks in that Alabama game, but they got some more guys coming.
Yeah. So and the other thing is Oklahoma made the college football playoffs this year, and they were a year ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
They just put, again, like we're saying, they put 5 guys that are going to have relatively good combines. Now Owen Heineke didn't test well today. I believe he was like at the bottom of the linebacker group for athleticism when we thought he was an athletic linebacker.
He was.
But I think Heineke is still going to get drafted. The film was better than the athletic testing. So, Any other players that we want to talk about from the combine?
I don't know what his role is going to be at the next level, but UCF's Nigel Kelly, he just looks big. He just the size, the length just jumps off the screen. I don't know how he's going to fit into an NFL defense, but it's hard not to see someone taking a flyer on late day 3 and just see if they can get something out of him because he looks the part. He really does.
Okay.
Yeah. Both of those UCF guys, Malachi Lawrence and Kelly, they look really good. Malachi Lawrence made himself some money. It wasn't nothing explosive, nothing out of this world for Malachi Lawrence, but you saw the fluidity that he had, the bend that he had, and it matches right with the tape with his skill level, and he does have some burst and some explosiveness to his game. So I think he did well for himself. Both those UCF guys did well for themselves. Last guy I got is Jake Golday. I like what he weighed in at 6'4", 239, which matches with his play-in weight, which is 6'4", 240. So it's nice to see that he's at that actual weight. He didn't just like drop weight to run a good time. That's his real playing weight. But ran a 4.6 240 with a 1.6 10-yard split. We've seen that on film. As much as they dropped him in the apex and in the slide, he's a good mover in space. 10'5" broad jump and 39-inch vertical, which tells you he's got lower body explosiveness. So if you need him to be a pass rusher, he does have that in his talent to be able to be an explosive pass rusher. But I think he cemented himself as an athlete in this draft. I think he's climbing up draft boards because defensive coaches are seeing what they can do with him. He's not just some guy that you just put in space. He can be a stack linebacker as well. So I think he had a good combine.
One more, I think Dani Dennis Sutton has worked his way in the top 50. 39.5 vertical jump at 256 pounds and a 1.63 10-yard split, 4.63 40-yard dash. And the question is consistency. He looks the part, plays with good power, has enough acceleration and burst to threaten the corner. You just he just has to be natural and more consistent on a frequent basis. But yeah, those numbers today, someone's going to gamble on him early on day 2, I think.
Yeah, and I think Dennis Sutton, like when we were doing scouting reports, they weren't favorable. It was like round 3-4. But everything that's happened since then, I've just seen him steadily move up. But that could also be the number of edges in this draft class that could play first and second down is low enough that when you see the edge that is prototypical size can play first and second down. I think that's true for Dennis Sutton. I think that's true for Derek from Michigan. Derek Moore. Thank you. I was about to say a different last name, so thank you for that help there. So like Derek Moore of Michigan, same thing. They're moving up the board. I don't necessarily know that that's because of, how do I want to say it? Because scouting reports on both players came consistently back late day 2. But now people are saying, we're going to move them up. But I think that goes into the weakness of the draft class.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right. Like it's specifically like so many scheme specific players. But why don't we pause for podcaster identification? Christian, you want to tell everybody who you are, how they can find all of your content?
Yeah, find me on X at the handle, kind of bomb left @Zwick _Christian. New draft board came out this week, top 100 ahead of the combine. But all my work is on Twitter @Zwick _Christian. And Jim, appreciate having me on.
Awesome, Christian. Love having you here. EJ.
You can catch me here every Thursday, 9:00 p.m. Eastern time on the Mrs. R Relevant podcast. You can catch my work on X. Pretty much you can see film breakdowns, player breakdowns, scheme breakdowns, pretty much. And pretty much all my opinions are film based. So don't argue with me, argue with the film. And anywhere on my timeline or anywhere on this show, you will never, ever, ever hear me say the word generational.
Yep. And you will be able to catch EJ and Christian as part of Epic Mock 26, which is a 7-round 32 podcaster mock. Most of the podcaster spots have been filled, but there are a couple left. So, Michael, I'm curious here in the chat who your team is, because I can point you to, whichever podcaster's covering that team for Epic Mock. So it's turning out to be a pretty good event. We have a lot of podcasters secured. We're beginning to get some very popular draft people. So Ian Cummings should be podcasting as part of Epic Mock 26. And there may be some other names that you may recognize from your TV that will be joining Draft Professor for 3 days. So for EJ, Christian, myself, and the 80 podcasters at the Draft Professor, thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy your night, and we will see you on a podcast again tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.